Our first step was to drop in the color. Today we're going to be looking at painting in the rocks. When you paint in the rocks, you're going to start with two main colors. One is Winsor Newton Cerulean Blue, and the other one is Winsor Newton's Light Red. These are the two colors I have on my palette, and these make some nice grays, and they also mold and do some nice textures and things inside of each other when those two react to each other in the painting. So I'm going to start with those two colors, and I'm going to add some water to my rock. I'm going to add that color in there, and this time I'm going to paint the whole shape, because this is just another layer. I'll come back later and add some shadows and things to it, but I'm just painting in that whole shape that's the rock. And then I'm going to add a little bit of salt to it, and that's going to give it some texture. So I'm going to scoot past that one and come to another one. And you'll notice that some of those two colors kind of break up. They don't stay totally together. They make some nice textures that makes it like a rock. So I'm painting in my rock shape, my form. And then again, I'm going to add some salt to it. And go to the next one. These two rocks are kind of together, so I'm just going to paint them at the same time, but I will come back later to define where one rock is and the other one is with my shadows. Now that our rocks that we have dropped into color, put some color in there, and we salted them, is dried, the next thing we need to do is take the salt off. So you're going to find something, like I'm using a popsicle stick. You could use an old credit card. You could use just your hand. You're just going to kind of take it and rub it across. And kind of feel and make sure all the salt is off of your paper. When your paper is nice and smooth and there's no more salt on there, you can see that there's some salt action, some little crinkles and stuff in the rocks that gives it that texture. Next, we're going to do is look at the shadows. Look at the places where it's going to be the dark spots of your rock, where it's going to have some dark edges. And that's where we're going to paint next. We're still using our same colors of our cerulean blue and light red. And we're going to mix them together to get kind of a grayish color. This is going to be like our shadow color. And then when you get your shadow color, you're going to start looking for the places where you want to have some darks inside of that rock. So like right over here behind, so it's going to have some shadows from this edges over here. And come in here and put some darks into that space. Now, some of this is going to be like where it's reflecting into the water. And so it's okay to kind of have some of it kind of come into that water and make some water reflections also at the same time as you're making that dark inside of that shadow. This is going to help make the form, make it look like it's rounded, where you're looking for some dark spots and some light edges. Maybe you have a crack in that rock, and it might be just like a little line coming into that rock. Put some of your edges into there. Also, adding some of those dark edges into the water is going to also make the water look like it's bubbling over these rocks where you're going to have the whites showing up. If all your edges are getting wet, it means you're going to have to stop a little bit, let that dry before you come back and put in the next layer of darks. Okay, we've started to get the form of our rocks. We're starting to see some lights and shadows, some different edges. So now that it has dried, I can come back and put another layer of that color in there, looking for some even darker edges. And when I'm painting, I'm trying to think about what direction my rock is going, where I want that color to go. Is it going straight up and down? Or is it curving? How's this rock forming? There's really an edge here, so this is going to be a little bit darker inside of that space. This is kind of coming around and up. Nice thing about watercolors, if you don't like something, you can kind of, as long as it's still kind of wet, you can kind of wash it away.